We are now joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Hooters Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and we will get to you. Any questions? Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Hooters announced continued sponsorship and actually an increase. As the sport as a whole, is that a boost for everyone to see that more sponsors and current sponsors are picking up and doing more for drivers and for the overall body?
Yeah, for sure. It's been in general, I feel like it's been a really good partnership and very very natural, and they've done such a great job activating. You know, they only have a few races a year, but they're important to them. They're important to us, and when you have a company like that, you know, who has those couple races and they do it the right way, you know, and they're respectful of my time, which makes me, you know, want to help them more, and vice versa. So like I said, it's been very natural, very easy to work with, and when things are like that, flows great, and typically the relationship lasts longer because of that too. So it's just you know, very well understood on both sides of the ball, and just great to be on the same team.
CSPN, I know you said you thought your shoulder would be fine, but figured to check and see, did you need it checked out at all during the week, or have you been good?
Yeah, I got it just checked out, but yeah, all good. No worries. No apparent issues with it.
Chris Knight, GetChance.com. Chase, not worried about being in the bottom 4 entering this week's race, are you?
No, not too bad. I mean, I think you know, last week obviously sucked, and just having, you know, probably one of the best mile-and-a-half cars that we've had all year, it had one of the worst results of the season. So just the way it goes, you know, and with the way the format is now, you know, stuff happens, and don't really, in that situation, I don't really know what you do any different. You know, we had a solid day going. We were playing catch up a little bit from a couple mistakes. So ultimately, you limit those mistakes, and you try not to be behind those guys, and you further forward and hope you miss the melee. So I think it's going to be wild, you know, throughout the next couple weeks, and you know, obviously everybody talks about how wild next week's going to be, but nobody really knows. So it could be the smoothest race ever, and I mean, who knows till we get there. I mean, until you kind of get the race started and get going, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think there's, you know, the big thing I've noticed this year about the playoffs is that it didn't seem like we had as many random winners throughout the season. It seemed like the people who won, I thought, were guys who have run pretty well throughout the year for the most part. So your field of 16 to me is probably as strong as it's ever been since I've been doing this. You know, typically, you know, your first round is not too bad, because those guys that, you know, might have not had a very good day going and had a weather delay, get them a victory or whatever and get them in, you know, they were the first ones out typically. But I feel like this year it's about as strong as it's been since I've been involved. So I think it's going to be tough all the way down, you know, through, you know, this round, the round of 12 and the 8, you know, and so on. But I think this round's going to be tough, and I expect tomorrow night to be hard fought. You know, I can't say that I'm going to, you know, do things a whole lot different, because you can get yourself in trouble, you know, trying to overreach a lot easier than you can just trying to do what you normally do. We normally try to win, so that's not going to change tomorrow night.
We'll go down here to the right to David. And then we'll go over to Jeff.
Davey Siegel with Front Stretch. Last week, Hendrick had probably one of the best performances as a team as a whole, running inside the top 10 for the entire race. Although Richmond's a completely different track than Vegas, I mean, mile-and-a-half, short track, can't really compare those. Do you guys think that you kind of have maybe turned the corner in the season that has been up and down?
I hope so. I agree with you. I mean, I thought last week as a whole we were probably about as good as we've been all year, which was encouraging. I think that's good. That's only going to help all of us. I mean, I know that Vegas and Richmond don't look anything alike, but typically the same guys win every week, you know. So ultimately they have the fastest cars or are the best drivers. So, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I know they're not really very similar, but the same people run good everywhere. So I think if you've made it a gain somewhere, it's probably going to show up here too.
Come down here to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. So what's the mentality? I mean, you start the playoffs, you have a great car, and then it's something completely not of your own fault. how do you go through the week and try to keep a positive mindset now that you're in a hole after that?
I think for me, just the lack of patience. Like when something like that happens on a Sunday, and you're in these final 10. We only have 9 races left, which is crazy. I feel like we just started, but I'm just ready to go again. Like I got in the plane to go home Sunday after the race, and the race was still going on, and I'm leaving. And I'm just like, man, I wish we were lining up to run Richmond now. Like, I don't want to wait a week to run. Like, I want to go now and try to fix it. Because ultimately that's all you can do is wait for the next race and go again. So, I mean, ultimately just try to fix the problem tomorrow night and try to get another sticker.
Question in the back.
Don Jeffrey, CSPN Media. How important is stage 2 when it comes to these races? I know that you, before you got your win, you won a couple of those stage 2s in a row, kind of set you up for that final run. But just talk about how the strategy plays out in stage 2 to kind of get guys to where they can contend for wins
before the end. Yeah. I mean, stage 2 is about as important as stage 1 and not as important as stage 3. So, those stage points are important to get. I think that's a bit of a game that everybody's been playing throughout the year. And especially as the playoffs start, you can make up a lot of points by winning or finishing well in one, if not both, of those stages. So that's huge, and especially when you're in a hole like we're in right now, stage points are crucial. And especially, if you don't have a very good car, you might elect to try to get some stage points. If you're pretty good, then the question kind of raises as to you want to try to get the stage points or set yourself up, better for the end of the race. So that's a call for my crew chief, Alan, and we'll kind of see how we are.
We'll go over to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. With the Roval next week, there are those who suggest that it could impact the racing even tomorrow night because of the uncertainty. How do you view, can the Roval impact what's going to happen Saturday?
I don't know. I mean, I know everybody talks about how wild it's been, and I've been right there amongst them, but until we get there, I don't know. I mean, that race might be the smoothest race of the year. So, I mean, it's just tough to say. Obviously, it's so inviting, and it's going to be so slow. I'm sure there'll be a lot of rooting and gouging next week, and really easy to pick up some damage on your car. And, as fragile as these cars are, we saw last week, guys were just barely touching the wall, and 3 or 4 laps later, they're crashed. So, that's the big one for me, is just how fragile these cars are now, and you can't really even lean on anybody and and continue forward. So it's important to run good here, absolutely. I mean I would love to go and have another sticker Saturday night and not have to worry about next week. But I think at the end of the day, I'm also encouraged by the road course races this year and how we've ran, and makes me pretty excited to go there next week and feel like we have a good shot too. So it depends on which side of the bed you wake up on.
What can you do, or what can you not do with these cars at a short track that you could have done a couple years ago, because of how fragile they are?
Well, I mean, just look at the contact. I mean, anytime you touch anybody with how the fender comes over the tire, and the body's being metal, and where the seams meet on the body itself, I mean, they're just, you touch somebody in the door, it's going to fold the fender in ever so slightly, and obviously we're all trying to get our cars as wide as possible for, the tires are going to be right up against the fender. So, you can't hardly touch anybody anywhere anymore, and it's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in.
For Chase. All right. Thank you, Chase. Good
Thanks.
luck.